filling every pore and cell of us. Our flesh and bone tabernacle seems transparent as glass to the beauty about us, as if truly an inseparable part of it, thrilling with the air and trees, streams and rocks, in the waves of the sun, a part of all nature, neither old nor young, sick nor well, but immortal. Just now I can hardly conceive of any bodily condition dependent on food or breath any more than the ground or the sky. How glorious a conversion, so complete and wholesome it is! Scarcely memory enough of old bondage days left as a standpoint to view it from. In this newness of life we seem to have been so always. Through a meadow opening in the pine woods I see snowy peaks above the headwaters of the Merced above Yosemite. How near they seem, and how clear their outlines on the blue air, or rather in the blue air, for they seem to be saturated with it. How consuming strong the invitation they extend! Shall I be allowed to go to them? Night and day I'll pray that I may, but it seems too good to be true. Some one worthy will go, able for the godful work. Yet, as far as I can, I must drift about these love monument mountains, glad to be a servant of servants in so holy a wilderness. I found a lovely lily, Calochortus albus, in a shady adenostoma thicket near Coulterville, in company with Adiantum chilense. It is white with a faint purplish tinge inside at the base of the petals, a most impressive plant, pure as snow crystal, one of the plant saints that all must love, and be made so much the purer by it every time it is seen. It puts the roughest mountaineer on his good behaviour. With this plant the whole world would seem rich, though none other existed. It is not easy to keep on with the camp cloud while such plant people are standing preaching by the wayside. During the afternoon we passed a fine meadow bounded by stately pines, mostly the arrowy yellow pine, with here and there a noble sugar pine, its feathery arms outspread above the spires of its companion species in marked contrast. A glorious tree, its cones 15 to 20 inches long, swinging like tassels at the end of the branches with superb ornamental effect. Saw some logs of this species at the Greeley mill. They are round and regular, as if turned in a lathe, excepting the butt cuts, which have a few buttressing projections. The fragrance of the sugary sap is delicious, and scents the mill and lumber yard. How beautiful the ground beneath this pine, thickly strewn with slender needles and grand cones, and the pines of cone scales, seed wings and shells around the instep of each tree where the squirrels have been feasting. They get the seeds by cutting off the scales at the base in regular order, following their spiral arrangement, and the 2 seeds at the base of each scale, 100 or 2 in a cone, must make a good meal. The yellow pine cones and those of most other species and genera are held upside down on the ground by the Douglas squirrel and turned around gradually until stripped, while he sits usually with his back to a tree, probably for safety. Strange to say, he never seems to get himself smeared with gum, not even his paws or whiskers, and how cleanly and beautiful in colour the cone litter kitchen middens he makes. We are now approaching the region of clouds and cool streams. Magnificent white cumuli appeared about noon above the Yosemite region, floating fountains refreshing the glorious wilderness. Sky mountains, in whose pearly hills and dales the streams take their rise, blessing with cooling shadows and rains. No rock landscape is more varied in sculpture, none more delicately modelled than these landscapes of the sky. Domes and peaks, rising, swelling, white as finest marble and firmly outlined, a most impressive manifestation of world-building. Every rain cloud, however fleeting, leaves its mark, not only on trees and flowers whose pulses are quickened, and on the replenished streams and lakes, but also on the rocks are its marks engraved, whether we can see them or not. I've been examining the curious and influential shrub Adenostoma fasciculata, first noticed about Horseshoe Bend. It is very abundant on the lower slope of the second plateau near Coulterville, forming a dense, almost impenetrable growth that looks dark in the distance. It belongs to the rose family, is about 6 or 8 feet high, has small white flowers in racemes 8 to 12 inches long, round needle-like leaves, and reddish bark that becomes shreddy when old. It grows on sun-beaten slopes, and like grass is often swept away by running fires, but is quickly renewed from the roots. Any trees that might have established themselves in its midst are at length killed by these fires, and this no doubt is the secret of the unbroken character of its broad belts. A few manzanitas, which also rise again from the root after consuming fires, make out to dwell with it, also a few bush compositae, baccharis and linoceris, and also some liliaceous plants, mostly calochlorus and brodacia, with deep-set bulbs safe from fire. A multitude of birds and wee slinket-cowering timorous beasties find good homes in its deepest thickets, and the open bays and lanes that fringe the margins of its belts offer shelter and food to the deer when winter storms drive them down from their high mountain pasture. A most admirable plant. It is now in bloom, and I like to wear its pretty fragrant racemes in my buttonhole. Azalea occidentalis, another charming shrub, grows beside cool streams hereabouts, and much higher in the Yosemite area. We found it this evening, in bloom a few miles above Greeley's Mill, where we are camped for the night. It is closely related to the rhododendrons, is very showy and fragrant, and everybody must like it, not only for itself, but for the shady alders and willows, ferny meadows, and living water associated with it. Another conifer was met today, incense cedar, Libocedrus decorans, a large tree with warm yellow-green foliage in flat plumes like those of the arbor vitae, bark cinnamon-coloured, and as the boles of the old trees are without limbs, they make striking pillars in the woods where the sun chances to shine on them. A worthy companion of the kingly sugar and yellow pines. I feel strangely attracted to this tree. The brown, close-grained wood, as well as the small, scale-like leaves, is fragrant, and the flat, overlapping plumes make fine beds, and must shed the rain well. It would be delightful to be storm-bound beneath one of these noble, hospitable, inviting old trees, its broad, sheltering arms bent down like a tent, incense rising from the fire made from its dry fallen branches, and a hearty wind chanting overhead. But the weather is calm tonight, and our camp is only a sheep camp. We are near the North Fork of the Merced. The night wind is telling the wonders of the upper mountains, their snow fountains and gardens, forests and groves. Even their topography is in its tones. And the stars, the everlasting sky lilies, how bright they are now that we have climbed above the lowland dust. The horizon is bounded and adorned by a spiry wall of pines, every tree harmoniously related to every other. Definite symbols, divine hieroglyphics written with sunbeams. Would I could understand them. The stream flowing past the camp through ferns and lilies and alders makes sweet music to the ear, but the pines marshalled around the edge of the sky make a yet sweeter music to the eye. Divine beauty all. Here I could stay tethered forever with just bread and water. Nor would I be lonely. Loved friends and neighbours, as love for everything increased, would seem all the nearer, however many the miles and mountains between us. End of section 1.